All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the lightweight division for the fight that is coming up this weekend between Floyd Mayweather Jr. prodigies Rolly Romero and Gervonta Tank Davis. Rolly Romero sharing information that was given to him by Floyd Mayweather Jr. to how to properly prepare to beat Gervonta Davis. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're in the lightweight division talking about Rolly Romero, the 135-pound challenger to Gervonta Davis's belt this weekend. Gervonta Davis is the 135 WBA regular champion, and they will be fighting in Brooklyn, New York. And I do believe it's in Brooklyn, New York. And also what Rolly Romero said about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and the advice that he gave him preparing to beat Gervonta Davis. Very sound advice. However, the relying on the power, man, I ain't so convinced. But before we get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're a longtime subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support for the channel. If you're new to the channel, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. All right, so here we go. The big fight this weekend. Rolly Romero feeling confident that he will be able to beat Gervonta Tank Davis, and he reveals information given to him by Floyd Mayweather Jr. about how to do that. And according to him, it is all about the preparation, and that in the preparation for this fight, that he has changed something in his regiment that is going to help him beat Gervonta Davis. And that is that he has reduced his weight during the entire training camp, before the training camp, and kept himself in a physical condition where he will not get drained and not feel tired in the fight, which should increase his power and allow him to stop Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, this is information or advice that came to him from Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, I'm not sure whether or not that advice really is directed at how to beat Gervonta Davis. I would think that you would need to be a little bit more specific about tactics with Gervonta Davis versus what you need to do, in your preparation for fights in general. However, if that's the case where he feels like, because he stayed at a lower weight and he kept his weight down in between fights. But honestly, man, he hasn't had a fight in a long time. I can't remember. It's been a while because Gervonta Davis, he was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. He didn't fight in between, and he hadn't fought in a while before that. So he's been inactive for a while. So maybe if he's saying he kept his weight down this entire time, I'm not quite sure how that is going to, whether or not that is going to have a tremendous impact on this particular fight. But, it's solid advice for fighters in general. And that's one of the things that Floyd Mayweather Jr. said has really contributed to his very, very long career that, he didn't have to ever spend a lot of time in training camps getting ready because, shoot, he stayed ready, right? That's what Errol Spence Jr. has done in, heading into the fight that he had with, Yordenis Ugas, where you could tell, months out from the fight that he was very, very close to weight. You look at him now preparing for, the Terrence Crawford fight, if that takes place, and he's very, very close to weight. So, very, very sound advice. My personal opinion, though, is that Gervonta Davis has been doing the same thing. If you look at Gervonta Davis and how Gervonta Davis has looked before fights, the fights with Leo Santa Cruz, heading into the Leo Santa Cruz fight, heading into the Isaac Cruz fight, and now going into the fight with Rolly Romero. Same thing has been the case with Gervonta Davis as well, man. He's been very, very close to weight. He's not looked like he's blown up. If you look back at some of the other fights, when he was still at 130 pounds, man, he really did blow up, look like the Pillsbury Doughboy in between fights, man. It looked like he got way, way, way up in weight. But he also has made that adjustment where he's being more, responsible responsible and keeping his weight down in between fights. But as far as what that's going to do, what that's going to do for him fighting Rolly Romero, I just don't get it unless he's saying his power is going to be even more powerful because he stayed down in weight and he had time to adjust to that, in training camp. But, to me, just doesn't seem like that's going to be a recipe necessarily for victory just by itself. In order for Rolly Romero to beat Gervonta Tank Davis, he's going to have to develop a very good jab. That's what I think. He's going to have to, because he's got a length advantage. He's got a slight height advantage on him. I do believe he's got a reach advantage on him. I think what Gervonta Davis is going to have to do is he's going to have to be able to he's going to have to do something I've not seen him do before, which is rely on a jab and a straight right hand to keep Gervonta Davis, to keep Gervonta Davis at a distance and score on Gervonta, because his length is his biggest advantage. It's not necessarily his power, because if he gets into exchanges with Gervonta Davis, that is a very, very dangerous thing to do. Tim Bradley said it himself. He's like, look, man, if, Rolly Romero, we all know he's not the most skilled fighter in the world, but he has a puncher's chance in that fight. However, the thing about Gervonta Davis is that if Gervonta Davis does touch you, man, it is going to absolutely be night. And now I know there are people out there that say, well, that wasn't the case with Isaac Cruz, but I really do believe that was his hand, because before he threw that overhand left that landed on the top of Isaac Cruz's head, he started landing body shots on Isaac Cruz that you could really tell were starting to affect Isaac Cruz. So, with Rolly Romero, I see him doing the same thing, see him moving forward, getting inside of him at a certain point in time, getting inside of those big shots and wearing his body down, because, the big risk for him with Rolly is getting caught at the end of punches with Rolly, because that's where, most of the power is with a guy that is really going to load up like that. And I'm not sure whether or not Rolly has that power, when you're up close. And more than likely, though, he's going to take about 6 rounds, feeling him out, trying to, waiting for, Rolly to get gassed a little bit, waiting for Rolly to, drop his hands, where he has to load up even more in order to make those punches really effective. My opinion is, man, it's just going to be a case of, it's going to be in the prime case of Sugar Shane Mosley versus Ricardo Mayorga, right? Sugar Shane Mosley was even at a late age was able to stop him because of all that wild winging punches, and that's what Rolly Romero reminds me of. But so even if Floyd Mayweather Jr. wants Rolly Romero to win, all the wishes in the world, I don't think are going to get that done, man. I think Gervonta is going to move right on, with the victory and do what he has to do next. Hopefully that means he'll get the winner of George Kambosos and Devin Haney, which is the fight which is going to take place the Saturday after this one. Hopefully they'll be able to do that, man. And then Rolly, is not going to be any worse for wear, because he's still going to be he's going to get he'll be on a bigger stage, so his name is growing. Also, because he's a knockout puncher and he's kind of that wild puncher, man, people are going to want to see Rolly fight. So, his career will continue to go on no matter what happens here, man. But that piece of advice, although very, very sound advice from Floyd Mayweather Jr., ain't about to have any impact on this fight here. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.